Hey guys, this is Danny, Greg, and Joe from Ritual Gaming, and we are here with our fourth episode, Yoda is Coming. Now, we want to first discuss Yoda's great return, and we're all pretty excited to see his event come back. It's good to know, too, that his event is just going to be coming back on a regular basis, right? Because we're all just kind of debating whether or not that was actually going to be a thing. Now, we've decided to look at basically how to efficiently farm a team of 7-star Jedis in order to get Yoda at 7 stars, but not totally completely shoot yourself in the foot. So we're going to break it down into Cantina shipments, Galactic War guys that you could get, and Arena guys that you could get, and the other ones that you'll have to farm without those kind of resources that you're going to be using. So, Joe, who are the guys that we said for Cantina?
Well, in terms of spending your actual Cantina points that you gather, whatever level you attempt, you've got Ahsoka, the Jedi Knight Guardian, and Qui-Gon Jinn. Ahsoka is available also from hard modes, and so is Jedi Knight Guardian. Qui-Gon, on the other hand, only from your precious orange orbs.
Which, as we have said before in previous videos, they come in really slow.
Yep.
So, a little bit harder. Now, Danny, between Ashoka and Qui-Gon Jinn, what do you think?
Well, see, I've been farming both of them, kind of off and on.
Terrible idea. Terrible idea,
but only because I want Yoda. So, I've got Ahsoka up to 5 stars. I'm going to leave her there. I'm not going to touch her again, because I really don't care about her. So obviously I'm going to go back to Qui-Gon and just fully star him up.
Yeah, if you're talking about these guys in terms of outside of the Yoda event, who is best, it's Qui-Gon Jinn, hands down. He is fully top tier in Arena, he's great in Galactic War, and he'll get you a Yoda. But he has the drawback of not having anything apart from these Cantina shipments to grab him, where you can get an Ahsoka up there just that little bit quicker with her 2 hard modes.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're going with maybe, okay, you're not going to be getting half of the amount of shards per day from her hard modes, but even if you're getting 2 per day, that would be amazing, right? Mm-hmm. It's definitely a bit quicker. I mean, it's already a really slow grind, so if you're going to go for it that way, then might as well go for Ashoka. So I think we all came to agreement that Ashoka would be the best bet for if you want to get there the fastest and the most reliably, right?
Yeah, bear in mind that Qui-Gon is a much, much better character than Ahsoka overall, but Ahsoka is that much quicker, so we're talking pure speed.
What about Jedi Knight Guardian, guys?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I mean, she can take a real good beating and maybe ability block some people, right?
Which is all she's going to do, take a good thing.
She just doesn't have the damage, no interest, and she looks terrible. She's an ugly looking character. For one, I would definitely go the Qui-Gon Jinn route, even though it's a bit slower, personally, because I don't really care about Yoda, and I don't know, I'm just not as interested, but if you definitely want to get there quicker, definitely go for Ahsoka. Okay, Galactic War. I mean, it's a pretty easy choice, right, Danny? What do you think?
Yeah, you just got to go Lumi. If you've gotten all your little guys that you want with your comps, go for Lumi, and you're gonna want to get Lumi anyways, and you're gonna want to get her to 7 stars. So it's just that's who it is.
Yeah. And
Luminara is just fantastic anyway. So
she has 3 hard modes too. You're gonna get her up there really quick, and if you're not too high up on the arena ladders, right, Galactic War is pretty easy to do.
And you'll soon discover that she's absolutely 100% vital in Galactic War.
Yeah, I wish I had a really high level Luminara instead of I think I have like maybe a 5-star, almost 6-star Luminara at level 1 right now due to lack of credits. Okay, so we've got 2. We've got Ashoka or Qui-Gon Jinn, and then Luminara. Then we get to Arena, the most disgusting, worthless pickings possible for the Jedi grounds, and that is Koth? I don't even know how to say his name. I don't care about him.
Koth? I don't know.
I'm going to go with Koth as well, but either way, you're really only farming this guy if you really want that 7-star Yoda, because otherwise he's fairly useless.
Yeah. I mean, he has some anti-droid mechanisms built into him, but his damage is so boring. He's so
His
bad.
health's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never ever seen him at the top of the arena ladder, and I can't even imagine wanting to farm him up, even if you had a couple guys playing droids or something in your crew, in your top 10 or whatever. Then it still seems pointless. I figured there's way better stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, one easy way to get rid of droids is to just have a faster, more powerful team without having to worry about Ethkoth at all. You know, you don't need this. You know, there's a couple of Jedis like that. The other guy, Ima Gundy, you know, who we're not going to include on this list because he's just too hard to farm. But he's an anti-droid guy as well. And I just, you know, I think they were kind of maybe thought droids would have more of an impact than they do.
Yeah. I feel like every time I see different things on the Reddit or EA forums or whatever, and people are asking, you know, what should I do here? I feel like the best way to summarize the current meta is just say, when in doubt, go faster.
Yeah.
And that is it.
As fast as you can.
Yeah. As fast as you possibly can. All right, so unfortunately, Ethkoth for Arena. Now, this is where we start to get to a bit, you know, you're not relying on your resources that are going to come in. You're going to have to go to holo tables. Now, the first one that you could look at for holo tables is Jedi Counselor. It's got 3 hard modes and 2 holo tables. The second one is in 6E, so that's pretty good. You know, if you want to get a little bit of extra money back, maybe some higher ability mats. And then the other one is Barriss, who has 3 hard modes and only 1 holo table, which is at 8A, so it doesn't even matter because it's not released yet. I actually, when I was looking into this, I was thinking like, whoa, I didn't know that she had a holo table, but you can't get there.
Yeah.
So, Danny, what do you think? What's the better choice for if you want to be totally reliably getting to 7 stars?
Well, it's much faster, obviously, to go JC, because you already get him at the beginning of the game. So all you have to do is just focus on him, and he's really good. He's a slightly lesser Lumi, sort of. You know, he's about half of a Lumi. But he's still really good, and he's very reliable. Barriss, she's good, and she's got some play in some certain comps, but you know, she's harder to get, and yeah, I don't know, just all around JC will go faster, and he's just a bit better.
Yeah. I feel like most of our conclusions for these is that this guy will go faster, but this guy is better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Barriss, the other thing with Barriss is you can get her to go fairly fast. I'm farming a Barriss right now, and I've done about maybe 25, 30 shards in 2 days. But that's because once she's got her 3 hard modes open and her Cantina level, and you really focus on it, you know, I'm refreshing Cantina 2 to 3 times a day, and then I'm doing those 3 hard modes, and so you can easily get 10 plus per day. And then all of a sudden it goes very quickly. But you could do the same with JC, and you've been going with him since the beginning. It just depends if you want a Barriss, because you want a Barriss as well. And I think in terms of Galactic War and even a little bit in Arena, if you build a specific team, she's pretty good.
What's Barriss's Cantina level?
It's 7A, the first of the last wave.
Okay, I definitely got it wrong. I said it was 8A, and I was like, oh, maybe she doesn't have one.
No, she's got one.
She's definitely got one.
Oh, well then what are we even doing? I mean, Barriss is obviously the choice here, right?
Yeah. Just apart from the fact that
I messed that up. That was my fault.
If we're talking pure speed, though, like Danny said, is you've already had that JC since level 1, or at least level whatever it is when you get him early. And so, yeah, he's already at 4 stars or something, you know.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on really where your account is. If you have a Barriss lying around, or if you're a new account, it's probably better to go JC, but if you're an older account, it's definitely more worthwhile to go Barriss. Okay, so Joe, what do you think then? What's our final squad that we're going to take to 7 stars for Yoda?
So if we're talking pure speed, you're going to be looking at Ahsoka, Lumi, Eithkoth, and probably JC and Barris because of just how many hard modes they have on top of that Cantina level. And JC has a couple of Cantina levels as well. If you finish one of them off first, then you've got some time left over. So that looks like the fastest team.
So,
with the caveat that we would prefer to have Qui-Gon.
Definitely.
If it's at all possible. Yeah.
So then, I guess this begs the question then, do you need Yoda? Danny, are you going for Yoda?
I want him only because it's, to me, I play this game as sort of like a Pokemon where I want to collect everything. I want them all. But at the same time, I don't think I need him. You know, there's no place for him in any of my teams yet. But you never know. I mean, he could come into play and he could be really cool, and I'll be happy I have him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Joe, what do you think? Are you going for Yoda?
I am. I've just decided to recently, the last 2 or 3 days, because my arena team is stable. I don't really want to start building a second arena team because if the level cap goes up, then I can't afford to level 2 arena teams at a time. And yeah, I just want to try something different. I've been focused so hard on arena for so long. I just feel like a little bit of what Danny says, a little bit of collector driven impulse, and a little bit of just wanting to try something out and see how long it takes and see if I can do it. I just really wish I didn't have to get Eithkoth to do it.
Yeah.
Also just, kind of see where this Yoda train goes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still new.
I think when I look at it, every time I see Yoda in a comp right now, I don't really enjoy it. I mean, I just don't think he works that well in current comps. Like, you see him sometimes where people are running like a Qui-Gon lead, Sid, Yoda, Dooku, or something really quick like that. But I feel like at times Yoda might be one of the weaker parts of that. I know people's opinions are totally different to mine, especially on certain forums, but I don't know. I just don't see it right now. I don't gravitate towards him. But as you guys are saying, and I'm thinking about it more as we're talking about it, I think he could become really good down the line because his kid is cool. His kid is interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
he does really interesting stuff, and I just kind of hope that over time the game changes in a way that allows these more complex and teams to at least be competitive in arena, you know, because at the end of the day, most people are really looking at their arena and thinking, how can I get up there, you know? That's the sort of the end game for most high-level players, and it is for me too. I just feel like I've settled into a comfy team, and I don't mind about Yoda.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree with you. At the moment, I don't think he's that amazing. And that's...
Well, I think at the moment, if anything, he's kind of like a taunt without taunt. It's just kind of, you have to get rid of him right away, so you kind of ignore the rest of the team that maybe the guys want up there.
I don't know. I feel like that depends on what team he is on, though. Sometimes I just leave him and let him do his thing, and then he does his thing, and he gives everybody the buffs and stuff, but everybody's dead. You can't give dead players buffs.
It's true. But I mean, it does depend on your team. If they're all really beefy, then he gives an entire team buffs. Then it's kind of like, oh, damn it, should have gotten rid of him.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't work in that Qui-Gon build you're talking about because
no, they're too squishy.
It's a whole bunch of attackers and then Yoda, and he doesn't really serve a purpose in that team apart from those guys happen to have him at 7 stars.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. He does look cool, and I wouldn't mind having him. But I look at how many resources you'd have to put into him right now and how long it will take if you don't already have those guys like kind of close to 5, 6, 7 stars. It just turns me off.
Mm-hmm.
He would evade a lot more than he actually does.
That's true. You think he'd be quick.
He's so tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Who does evade a lot recently is Resistance Pilot or whatever. Man, that guy's killing me with evades. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. All right, Joe, why don't you introduce our next topic?
Yeah, so recently, all 3 of us, and we're pretty excited that we've been accepted to join up with the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes Cantina Guild. for this game, and
Fear the Boot.
Fear the Boot, yeah, FTB, and that's the team of players that play around the website SWGOH Cantina.com, Star Wars Galaxy Hero Cantina, and and as a result, we were really poking around that site, and you can find our videos on the site now in the videos section, which is really cool. And we were looking at that pretty handy character ranking list that they have. When I first started the game, I found that site because I would just, and you might be watching this video right now, if you've made it this far, saying, like, I really don't know who to get next. I don't know if this guy I just pulled out of the Chromium machine is any good. And you don't want some big in-depth breakdown of every ability and stat. You just want to know, like, kind of how good are they? Like, are they really crap? Are they okay, good in the right build, or just all-round really handy? And this list is really handy for that. So I would say before this next section starts, you want to go to swgohcantina.com and click on the rankings tab so you can see these in front of you.
Which I think is really well organized. So it's
very well
good
organized
to have it in front.
Mm-hmm. And we were just going to run down their top 20 and just kind of give our input, see what we think about it, and be pretty honest. We're not going to just say it's all great because we're part of the team now, and say who we think might be missing and who we think deserves their place. But that's it. Before we start, though, it's worth saying that this list, and it says it on the website, so if you're looking on it, you can read it. This is not a concrete list of what is absolutely the best. This is broken down over how good they are in PvP, how good they are in Galactic War, and how available they are as characters to farm.
All the things I care about.
Yeah. All the things you should care about, because that's pretty much the whole game. PvP, Galactic War, and can you get them? So this isn't a list for the whales out there. This is a list for the people like us who are being a bit more frugal about how they spend their materials. And another thing to note, that this does not mean if you take the top 5, you will have the best team. The top 5 absolutely does not make the best team in the game.
Yeah, they don't necessarily mesh together.
This does not take into account synergies, because that would just be a very, very difficult list to make. This just really analyzes their stats, how hard it is to train them, what gear level they can currently get to, at what level do their abilities become really handy, and so it's a much more high-level look at it, not getting into the nitty-gritty of team building.
Yeah.
But let's have a look.
And I think I just want to say before we start too, if you guys have other things that you think should be on there, let us know. We want to talk in the comments of these videos. We want to see what your ideas are too, because we're sitting here giving our ideas and stuff, and we just talk to each other about the game all the time. We want to hear some other opinions too. And we might skip over a few of these guys really quickly, especially I'd say in the top 5, top 10, because they're just so obvious. And if you're watching this video, and if you're at this point in this video, you probably know them too. And there's no reason for us to discuss them.
Yeah, we've talked about them many a time before.
I'm sure we've mentioned them hundreds of times already in the 4 videos we've done. Okay, Danny, top 5. What stands out for you here? Anything?
Well, first thing that pops out is I did not know Luminara's last name was Unduly. Anyways, doesn't matter. She's number 1. Darth Sidious number 2. That's pretty obvious. Genosian Soldier, however, actually we were talking about this before, Greg, and how we just thought he was probably one of the best, if not the best character in the game.
Yeah.
His health is up there. He can take a few hits. His power is insane, and his ability is just great. And he fits into almost every comp. Like, it does not surprise me he's in the top 3. He's one of my favorites. He's the first guy, second guy I got up to 7 stars, and I'm not regretting it by any means,
He's a very simple character, right? He doesn't have too many moving parts. He's just powerful, and he hits like a truck.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
About him is, in Cantina, he's level 1-1. So, you didn't really want to go past that. You could just continually farm him.
Yeah, on my second account for a while, I didn't have any other Cantina things open. I just farmed him over and over and over again. And I think, too, what I like about him a lot is his assist ability allows whatever synergy you've made in your team already to do it a little bit more often.
Mm.
You know, like if you're having multi-attacks, you know, that it happens more often. If you're, I don't know, focusing on just big hitters, they're going to hit more often. It's cool.
And he's fast.
Yeah, he's fast. Not super fast, but fast enough to keep up.
Yeah.
He's and I just think he's so versatile. Really, really versatile. You could almost never go wrong with him.
I think he deserves this third place.
Oh, totally. I was surprised to see Jedi Counselor in fourth place. Like I agree, Jedi Counselor is really good, and I know that, you know, it's for how well they also do in Galactic War, which I think Jedi Counselor does a lot better in Galactic War than necessarily he would do in Arena. But you know, it's still pretty high up there. It's I mean, he is very available, as we were discussing.
I remember you telling me, like, oh, Jedi Council. When I first started the game, Greg, you were saying you keep him up there, and I was just like, whatever. And now I regret not just keeping on top of him the entire time.
Totally. So. He is so good at really when you do need him. I still use him. I'm totally reliant on him for Galactic War. God, I need so many more healers for Galactic War, or maybe just a better strategy. IG86. It's funny too how in the top 5 there's 2 guys that have assist attacks. I think assist attacks are just so good in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you pair those 2 together in the same team, both of their hits are huge. So.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're the kind of core pieces of the really effective droid team that I know us 3 run. Yeah. I was surprised to see IG86 so high, simply because a lot of his power does depend on his droid synergies.
That's
true.
Know,
and I know this list doesn't take into account synergies so much, but that's really my point, is that without the synergies, is he that effective?
I mean, I've
so.
seen him. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. When his basic attack crits, his basic attack just does so much damage.
Yeah.
It really does. Okay, Joe, why don't you kind of guide us through 5 to 10? What stuck out for you there?
Yeah, well, first I'll just list them out. In 6th is Barriss Offee, who we've just talked about. I think this might be a little higher than I expected, but it really is here, as you can see in her rating, 100% rating for Galactic War, and that is true.
Oh, yeah.
Because, as we said in a previous episode, but for those who might not be aware, she isn't a healer. She does not heal. She redistributes health, which means in Galactic War, no one can heal block her, and that is enormous. Plus, if you run her lead, she does a passive heal as she goes. And so, yeah, that's really what I think is probably pushing her up this high, because in the arena, she's fine. And she's relatively available, as we discussed in the Jedi section. In 7th is Royal Guard, our favorite.
Woo!
Yeah, we love Royal Guard. Yeah, and this is very much changed. You know, they're keeping this list up to date, which is another thing that's great, because 3 weeks ago, this list looked nothing like that. Well, similar. You know, you still had the obvious choices up top, but there's been a lot of shuffling, and Royal Guard has really shot up into 7th place, which is, I'd say, fair. He's just such an all-rounder, really great. But yeah, his availability is really his drawback here. You can't get him. In 8th, Qui-Gon. I mean, if you play this game, you've seen Qui-Gon all over the place.
Yeah.
He's been in you.
Good. Yeah. Poggle the Lesser in 9th, who's another one of our favorites.
Poggle the Lesser,
Not just because we love droids. I think Poggle the Lesser is really great.
He's versatile. I feel like, too, he allows you to create multiple teams without having to invest into too many guys, because you can kind of shoehorn him in anything. He's just, if you don't have that 5th guy, you can be like, put Poggle in there.
He just makes everyone more powerful, right? And that's great.
I've heard that's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
And his health is, like,
it's good.
Tasty.
Yeah, he can take a hit.
You can see from his stats
Qui-Gon assist.
Yeah, exactly, right. And his stats are just really well balanced, and like we can see from the stats here, PvP, good, Galactic War, good, availability, good. You know, he's just good.
I think, though, in Galactic War, and they do rate him a little bit lower, actually, like 20 points lower in Galactic War. And whenever I use him in Galactic War, I'm always like, okay, am I going to use his buff here? If I do, then, you know, when am I going to have it back, kind of thing? And
yeah, should I even include him in the next team I run for the next?
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's not forget his basic ability has ability block too. So
that's true. Yeah, but it's I think it's more about his active, right? His buff, And
he's that guy you put in the very last round.
oh, totally.
And
You're
you
like,
just-
good. He's still full health. Yeah.
Yeah. And then rounding it out in 10th is Poe Dameron, who's taken a bit of a drop over the last few weeks as a result of his perceived nerf. Well, it was definitely a nerf, but whether you think it was a rebalance or a full-on nerf was down to personal opinion. Yeah, he's still great in Arena. I think this is a fair place for him to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all looking at this before to kind of try and prep, and we're all surprised by Royal Guards, how high he is. I mean, I like it. I agree with it.
I can't imagine he'd be even in the top 20 before his.
Oh, definitely not. No.
push
Even
up.
more likely to be in the bottom 10. He was just a trash character who got
It's just
used
Royal
to
Guard and Jedi Knight Guardian in 8th and 9th. You know, it's, yeah, no, I think he's just so good, and obviously he has a better arena rating than he does Galactic War, but I think in Galactic War 2 he's really, really good, because one thing I noticed when I was playing around with him in Galactic War was when it switches to different people that go to 50% health, he taunts again, right?
Yeah,
So you
it's
get
not
someone
a
on your
thing, which is amazing.
yeah, it's not. I feel like if they did want to nerf him a bit, that could be okay, where it has like some sort of kind of hidden cooldown where it can only trigger once every 3 rounds or once every 3 turns, something
Sure.
like that. I don't know, but if you have one member on your team that goes below, what's the health? He has to go below 30, 35%.
50%.
Is it? Oh, no.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then if you have another one, then he'll taunt again after he's taunted after the first one, right? Which at times I feel often leads to his death, but
Yeah.
most of the time you want him to die. It doesn't matter.
If he
I
does a
find
stun,
he's been
all the better.
stunning a lot. Yeah.
Well, you can get him up to 80% stun chance. I mean, that's huge.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
When we saw this list, we're like, is he amazing enough to
He's
be at 7?
amazing.
And now we're talking, he's up at 7. Yeah, I think that's a fair place.
Yeah. Is
Good
there
luck,
anyone
team.
that you guys see in the 5 to 10 kind of area here that you think maybe could deserve a place in the top 5?
Maybe Qui-Gon. He's
Yeah.
shown himself
Yeah.
so powerful. Like, I would put him ahead of IG-86 personally.
And he's in like 9 out of every 10 comps in like the top 20. Why is he so low?
Yeah. I
That's a
mean,
good point.
he has a lead ability for a start, which IG-86 doesn't have. He synergizes with like 15% of the roster being Jedis rather than 5% of the roster being droids.
Yeah.
Like, I think all around he should probably be rated a bit higher than he is.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, guys, I know we don't have to say this, but this is obviously just our opinion. Everybody's entitled to this, and we're just theorizing, a different way to look at the top 10. But I'm sure there's a lot of stats behind this that we're unaware of. And all right,
This is
let's.
very opinion based, yes.
Yeah, totally. I like Jedi Knight Guardian. It should be up there. Talking 11th. Okay,
It's
so
pretty.
I'll do 11 to 15th. So Rey comes in at 11. Then we got Phasma in 12, Dooku in 13, Ben in 14, and Stormtrooper Han in 15. I was really surprised to see Stormtrooper Han at all.
Yeah.
But until about 2 days ago, I'd never faced him in arenas. And then I saw him on a couple different squads, and then I saw him a lot in Galactic War. And man, if that guy gets his taunt off, it is so annoying.
Oh, it hurts, yeah.
In Galactic War, he's a pain in the ass. Yeah.
It's brutal. You just know
I
you're
have a
going to
team.
have to.
I have a team in top 10 on my server who run Qui-Gon, him and Ben, and 2 others I forget right now. Old Ben, that is. And
Oh,
yeah, so if he gets off and then old Ben does his thing, you're done.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you got no chance. You're just
Yep.
hanging around, basic attacking into Stormtrooper Han, giving them turn meter,
Mhm.
just killing yourself really slowly.
Yeah, it's the team that turns your own team against itself. Yeah, so yeah, I've recently grown an appreciation of him. So I guess whoever made this, the smarter people who made this list,
They knew what was
too.
up previously.
Yeah, they know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray obviously coming in at 11th. I mean, Ray is so good. I feel like her availability has got to be bringing her down a bit here. Like, if she was 100% available, she'd definitely be higher, right?
Yeah, for sure.
She's just, oh God, if she gets off her attacks and then gets Foresight going, it's gnarly.
Yeah, her abilities are insane.
I wonder, I didn't check out this list for a while. I wonder how high Phasma used to be. Because it must, before Qui-Gon's kind of
Right, when everyone
reign.
Yeah, top
when
5
everyone
for
was,
sure, yeah.
maybe, yeah. At least top 10, right? But now Phasma's down here. I mean, her lead skill is still really good, but I agree with her placement right now. It's just, it isn't the best.
Yeah, I agree too.
And it's a bit the same with Old Ben on the other, with Ray on the availability front. I mean, Old Ben is an insane character, but that availability, he's probably the number one rarest character in the game, and so
I very rarely pull chromium packs, but every once in a while I do, and I just pray for Old Ben. Like, just a 4-star Old Ben, I would love to have.
I've got one on one of my accounts, but it's an account I very rarely play.
That's sad. Can't just leave him on his own, hanging out there.
Oh, he's got some buddies.
Sad old man.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, if you're talking Jedis, that account could probably clear it within a few weeks if I focused on it. But
I'm surprised to see Dooku this far down.
Yeah, I feel like his health is a big issue.
Yeah, his health is a huge issue, but he's still on most comps, and he's friggin' annoying in almost every
worst.
Yeah.
Just.
I feel like if you're gonna have Dooku though, you really got to be focused. You got to have at least
got to have a certain
2 other guys that are gonna hit first with him. Like he's gonna do Force Lightning first, then most likely you'd have like a Qui-Gon next, and then I don't know, a Rey, or I don't know if I got that order right, but you know what I mean. Like 3 guys are just gonna bam take 2 guys out.
And I got to say, my arena server is pretty much 7 teams, like my top 10 is 7 teams like that, me and a couple of other guys. You know, it's Qui-Gon, Geonosis, and
Joe trying to survive.
Dooku, and then whatever else you got, Sid, Lumi, whatever. You know, the guys who are playing F2P, they're running Dukes, the Dukes.
I mean, he did get a lot more available, right? I mean, this was a while ago, technically in game time, but he's, you know, since he got that Cantina level, he's definitely a lot easier to farm. I'm farming him, to be honest. I want to make that deadly first hit squad.
I love
it. Obi-Wan, I mean, yeah, as we said, you know, availability issues. Stormtrooper Han, yeah, not super available, but he's in arena shipments, right? Yeah, he is. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And
I think that's the only place.
Okay, so that's why it's a little bit lower. Okay, let's look at our last 5. So in 16th, we got Kylo Ren. 17th, our man Yoda. 18th, Old Daka. 19th, Dacha. Really surprised there.
Interesting, yeah.
And 20th, Biggs Darklighter. I'm guessing solely based on that he has a sweet mustache.
Yes.
That's it. It's like an extra thing there. Sweet,
and a really nice
sweet mustache.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy gets down. You know he's hanging out at a couple of cantinas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's having a good time. This is actually where things kind of get interesting, because those first 15, outside of a couple of guys, I would generally agree with. I might shuffle them around a bit if I did my own version. But then down here is where things get... I mean, Kylo Ren, yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Yoda, as we said, pretty good. Maybe we wouldn't put him this high. What do you think? I don't know.
I would probably put Old Daka above him.
Yeah, I definitely would. But that's... I mean, I have an affinity for Old Daka. I think she's a trooper.
Yeah, I also think what you said the other day, we were having a discussion IRL, and we were just saying how Old Daka is kind of squishy and a little bit so-so until you get her right up there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's just a beast.
Yeah.
She's really bad until she becomes good,
really
which is
good.
Hypermax.
Yeah. I honestly think I've become incredibly, blinders on when I'm judging characters' health now, where if a character can survive the initial Qui-Gon calling in someone to assist him, and then Sid doing his AoE afterwards, then I'm like, yeah, you can roll on the squad.
Yeah,
But
exactly. If you're still alive, you're worth my time.
yeah, maybe if they crits there, okay, that's fine. Then you can go down and you tried your best. But if it was just normal, then you should be able to take it. And then Dacha, I was really surprised about Dacha. Oh, I just hit my mic there. I hope that didn't make it really bad sound-wise.
Well, his availability is huge.
Sure, and so is Biggs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, both Galactic War guys, you can just potentially get 15 a day if you're having a good day on Galactic War.
And didn't I read somewhere that Dacha's health is like one of the highest?
Is it? Huh.
I think
Maybe,
so. Maybe it was Dawa. I can't remember.
Dacha, yeah. I have a Dacha that I just got off of a random Chromium pull. But
I mean,
yeah,
Dacha used to be good, right? When AoE was not something that might just instantly kill your character. And Biggs Darklighter, I honestly, as soon as I looked at this, I was like, I don't even know what that guy does because I've never seen him.
His thing is, well, for a start, he has the bonus attack. He calls people into attack. His secondary ability is call it ally. And he has a weird buff that gives him double the chance to crit, or it's not double damage, but he gets that 2 times buff over his head, and I cannot remember for the life of me right now what it does. But he's got some interesting
We're prepped.
buffs.
We're prepped for this.
Oh yeah,
Biggs.
I read all day.
It's a wrench in the mix there.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, we'll put it down to the mustache. And
Yeah, it's definitely it. Okay, I feel like we spent a good long time on that list. Again, tell us, guys. Tell us what you
Hammering
think.
at our own opinions.
Yeah.
Not like yours.
Tell us what you guys think. Who should be up there? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like when in a discussion like this, I want to be biased and just say all of my favorite guys that I think are really good, but there's definitely other reasons. Okay, so we're trying to continue this trend of using theory crafting in engaging in theory crafting in each episode. We don't want to do too extensively because it's kind of pointless after a while, but we're just thinking of, we decided to go away this week and come up with one buff and one debuff that we would like to see put into the game. Not really depending on a character or whatever that would bring it in, but just somehow put into the game that might spice things up a bit more. So, Danny, why don't we start with yours?
All right, so for my buff, I'd call it emission. And I kind of, in the game you see a lot of animation with electricity and lightning and stuff. So I thought this would be kind of cool, like the buff would be attacking this character would cause the attacker to be stunned. So it's not a direct stun, it's you're getting punished for attacking the character. And so somebody like Magnagard, he's got his little electric staff. Somebody like that could be cool because if you'd imagine hitting him, he'd be like, duh.
That would be cool. Just like a little cartoon skeleton comes out.
yeah, especially if you made that noise when you did it.
Just stand up stiff.
Yeah. Oh.
And the debuff would be blackout. So the debuff would read, cannot target anyone with a buff on them. So if you had this debuff on you, anybody with a buff on them from the opposing team would be untargetable.
I like that one a lot. I like the idea of limiting who you can target.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's fun to me. And I mean that would definitely make Yoda really good, right?
Yeah, and it would come into play with like characters like that who just don't really have like the greatest thing going on for them right now. It would just make them kind of useful and kind of more fun to play with.
Could be kind of like a foresight, but for buffs, yeah. Maybe you could target them, but they're just almost guaranteed to dodge. Or I think with foresight, you're 100% guaranteed to dodge.
100%.
Yeah, something like that.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Foresight is the bomb. Okay, Joe, what was your buff and debuff?
Yeah, so my buff, we kind of discussed it in the last episode where we kind of made up new characters, but you know, I'll be lazy and kind of use it again. So this idea of a cover buff, so it works a little bit like a taunt, but instead of everyone must attack that character, the opponent team is allowed to attack anyone they like, but this character with the buff has a certain percentage, let's make it a high one for fun, of jumping in the way of that attack. So, like I said, kind of Final Fantasy style cover materia mechanic where your guy just jumps across in front of them and just blocks the attack. And, you know, you would obviously have that on a tanky character or something like that. So
yeah.
That could be fun. And then for a debuff, I had this idea. I wanted to call it Jedi Mind Tricks, but of course that's taken by old Ben. So I'll call it Mind Control. And so this would be, there's a certain percentage chance that you use an enemy character against their own team. So you would attack someone, or even just cast this at them. And then there's a certain percentage chance that they will then turn around and unleash an attack on one of their team members. Now, which seems a little silly, so it needs to have a kind of give and take. So I thought it could be quite fun that if it was resisted, or if it failed, then that character would perform an immediate counter on the person who cast it, but with a damage buff. So, you know, if you do it and it succeeds, they will punch their friend in the face. But if they resist it, they get real angry at you and they come right back at you with an even more powerful attack. You know, just so that could be interesting.
Way to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Play the fair game.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's just use a character to attack their own character, you know, and you just get a first order TIE pilot to shoot one of his own guys, and that's a broken ability, you know.
It would
you know,
be...
the higher attack guy you decide to target, the higher chance that guy turns around and just one-shots you.
It would kind of be, I mean, it'd be such a huge risk then, too, though, if they get the damage buff when they try and attack you back, because you're obviously going to do it on their highest damage guy, right? You're obviously going to do it on the TIE pilot.
Probably wouldn't like that buff too much.
Yeah. So your guy just
like
gets smoked out when he...
Yeah. Or you could, you know, that's where the tactics kind of interested me, because you might want to choose like a Royal Guard who's going to stun. You know, you might get a guy to stun his own character, or you might get a guy, you know, it could also backfire and give one of their, you know, if you pick poorly, you could pick a guy who gets foresight on his attack, and then you accidentally give a guy foresight, you know, without thinking about it. So you got to know your characters, you got to know your stats to use it effectively.
I was telling Lindy about the cover buff, and Lindy's kind of our production manager, guys, that helps us do all computer tech stuff, and my wife, and I was telling her about how the cover buff would work that Joe had come up with, and she just goes, "That'd be really annoying, though. I mean, would you really want that in the game?" She's like,
"Yeah, you got it, Lindy.
I think that'd be good." You know?
Kind of like stun and expose,
like
foresight, and ability block and heal block. Yeah.
Okay, so the ones that I was thinking about doing were kind of atypical, I guess, role-playing game buffs and debuffs, but I think they'd be cool to have in the game. So I want Berserk in the game, something where the character enrages and takes more damage but does more damage each turn. So this would be my buff, obviously. And maybe someone that could be cool on it that hasn't been released yet would be the Emperor Palpatine, kind of, you know, using his Force Lightning, and each time he does it, he goes more crazy or something, and he's more susceptible. Yeah. Oh, God, that graphic would be amazing, right? Like he's getting older and older as he's doing it. That'd be great. And then my debuff that I was thinking about would be Confusion, kind of like in Pokemon. And just basically they have a chance to the character on your team has a chance to either hurt themselves or kind of what you were going Vane direction with hurt someone on their own team. So I think it would have to be one or the other, or else it'd just be too chaotic. So they could either hurt themselves or they could hurt someone on their own team. And I don't know. You could. What I like about that ability is that you could kind of put it into both ways. So you could have guys where on their attack they have a chance of confusing someone, or other guys where when they are attacking, they have a chance of confusing themselves. So you could use it as a way of balancing kind of really strong abilities.
Mm. Yeah, I've always found confusion abilities in games like Pokemon to be really irritating when you just start hitting yourself. You know, I get like you might hit someone on your own team, but hitting yourself was always the biggest face slap, you know?
Cutting your brain in half and just being like, okay, now I can punch myself for a while.
Yeah, just
I think though I'd rather
lightsaber to my own nads. Yeah.
I think I'd rather have the option of attacking yourself though, because you don't necessarily have to use that move, right? Whereas if you have the chance of attacking someone else on your team, you could take somebody else that's really low, or if it's Royal Guard, you could stun somebody, or obviously it's not going to be Royal Guard because he's not going to get me confused. He's just using a police baton.
No, he's such a bro. He would never make a mistake.
Yeah, that's true. He never mess up.
Never. Yeah. That's why he's number 7 on the list, guys.
But again, I think it'd be cool, like, to hear what other people would theory craft. If they have any cool ideas for buffs or debuffs. It'd be fun to even just not hear us all the time.
Yeah. Or even really dumb ones. Like, we just like throwing around stupid ideas. So please comment and let us know.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to the end of this episode, guys. Thanks a lot for sticking with us all the way through here. This is Joe, Danny, and Greg from Ritual Gaming, and we'll catch you next time. Please like and subscribe the YouTube video, and as we said, leave us a comment. Peace, guys.